Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. It is my pleasure to welcome His Excellency Indulis Abelis, your Latvia's ambassador to Iceland, based in Oslo, I think, who will talk about the Latvian presidency of the Council of the European Union. As you probably know, the presidency of the Council is rotating among the member states of the Union every 6 months. And Latvia, one of the smallest EU member states, has this important and indeed strategic role during the first half of this year. Latvia is the second Baltic state to hold this EU presidency. Lithuania had it in the second semester of 2013. Latvia has come a long way in a relatively short time. I'm sure that many of you will remember when Latvia regained independence following the collapse of the Soviet Union. Especially people here in Iceland are aware of this fact because indeed Iceland was the first country to recognize the independence of Latvia, and that was in August 1991. Since then, Latvia has successfully undergone major political and economic reforms and later on became part of the European Union and of NATO. We can be truly proud of the remarkable progress this country has made since regaining its independence in 1991. Now Latvia is at the helm of the EU in challenging times. These challenges are both internal and external. Let me just mention the situation in Greece and the crisis in the Ukraine. The Latvian presidency has developed a program structured around 3 priorities: a competitive, digital, and engaged Europe. In a few minutes, we will hear more about this from Ambassador Abelis. In the Icelandic context, it is important to bear in mind that a number of measures proposed by the Latvian presidency in the field of internal policies and internal market in particular are directly relevant to Iceland in the context of the European Economic Area cooperation. So let me now hand over to Salvor Nordal, Director of the Center of Ethics at the University of Iceland, who will moderate the discussion. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon, and thank you for coming, and I welcome you all to this meeting hosted by the Latvian Embassy, the EU Information Center, and the Institute of International Affairs of the University of Iceland. It's a pleasure to be here, and I would like to welcome Latvian ambassador to the stage, His Excellency Indulis Abelis. So, and then we will have a discussion afterwards, and I hope that you will all take part in that. So, please.
Thank you. Now.
Okay.
It is indeed a pleasure for me and to be here. Iceland, as Ambassador Brinkman already said, is has a special place in Latvian hearts because in 1991 it was the first state to recognize Latvian statehood after regaining our independence, and that has always been remembered in Latvia, and so it is important to us. You also heard that there are a lot of challenges outside here and also inside Europe. At the same time, Latvia has never been in a safer situation because we, as members of EU, members of NATO, part of Euro, I think are in much more stable situation than many decades or even centuries before that. So let me start about the presidency and maybe with a little lighter subject. What do you think what our emblem, the logo, represents? I've heard several opinions about that before. One says that it's like CD. Other one says that's like Viking shield. Well, in fact, it is a grindstone. So the circular stone has been known through Europe for centuries, and it is rich in associations. Once it was significant innovation and trigger of change in households across Europe. Today, it remains the instrument that brings about bread, the symbol of nourishment and prosperity. The circular shape suggests unity and wholeness, commonly held ideals and values upon which the European Union is built. So, as you heard, it is the first time that Latvia presides the Council of the European Union. Almost 3 months have already passed, and we can draw the first experiences and conclusions about challenges and advantages that of a small state at the presidency. I will mention a few that I find the most relevant. Size is both an advantage and a problem. Small size allows presidency to have much shorter decision-making chain. As fewer people deal with the issues, they have wider perspective and are able to come to decisions in a shorter time period and be more flexible. At the same time, for them to be able to lead the discussions, they need to be experts in the field. And with few people, that means a lot of work for every single person. Small states are more compromise-oriented, so it is easier for them to fulfill the main task of the presidency, being the broker in the discussions. Presidency gives new possibilities to reach out to countries that normally Latvia would not. As our foreign minister is often asked to replace EU High Representative for Foreign Affairs, he meets and deals with the countries that otherwise Latvia has little bilateral contact. Being presidency gives valuable experience in working with the European Parliament. As a representative of the Latvian government is almost permanently present at the Parliament's plenary and committee meetings. A specific feature with our presidency is the fact that the new Commission started to work at the end of the last year. That means the Commission is full of energy and willingness to work, and that certainly helps to advance the issues. So, yes. In the context, of course, we need to look at our presidency in the context. We are one in a long line of presidencies that have been before us and ones that will continue after us. So a lot of work has been started before us and a lot of work will be continued after us. Italian presidency before us did an excellent job. We are a part of a so-called trio of presidencies, Italy, Latvia, and Luxembourg. This trio also has created the program for the work as a presidencies, and that is one input to our program for our presidency. The second main input is strategic agenda, which was adopted by the European Council in last June, so-called strategic agenda for the Union in times of change. And third main input is the priorities which were stated by the President of the Commission, Mr. Jean-Claude Juncker, when the new Commission took the office. The Latvian presidency has two broad objectives: to steer the work in the Council in order to fully overcome the economic and financial crisis, and to promote stability, security, and development in the neighborhood and in the world, working hand in hand with the High Representative and the European External Action Service. In order to reach those two objectives, we are concentrating on three themes: competitive Europe, digital Europe, and engaged Europe. So let me give you a few examples of work under each of those themes. Under competitive Europe, of course, our main priority is jobs and economic growth. And first and foremost, we are working in order to facilitate investment. We are putting a lot of effort in order to ensure effective Council's work on the European Fund for Strategic Investment, or so-called Juncker's plan of 315 billion euro. We expect the negotiations with the European Parliament to be over in June 2015 to allow the fund to be up and running from the middle of the year. The political agreement of this fund's regulation will allow the European Investment Bank and the European Commission to conclude an agreement creating the fund, as well as the European Investment Advisory Hub, which will be responsible for choosing and approving investment projects. Another important initiative is Energy Union. The main emphasis in the Energy Union will be on 5 interlinked policy areas: energy security, solidarity and trust, fully integrated European energy market, energy efficiency contributing to moderation of demand, decarbonizing the economy, and research, innovation and competitiveness. The European Council of March 1819 agreed to set out the first steps of an energy union. EU leaders are committed to building affordable, secure and sustainable energy within the EU. At their meeting, the discussion focused on energy security and transparency in gas contracts. All gas contracts must be in line with the EU law, more transparent, and should not negatively impact Europe's energy security. I emphasize that because gas is very important for Latvia, as we are, for the moment, 100% dependent on the Russian gas and are not for the moment interconnected to Europe networks apart from a recent LNG terminal which was built in Lithuania, but which has not very big capacity. EU leaders also agreed to accelerate infrastructure projects, including interconnections in particular to peripheral regions for electricity and gas to ensure energy security and well-functioning internal energy market. To develop innovative strategies for new generation of renewable energies and increase energy efficiency, and to step up the EU climate diplomacy for a successful Paris Climate Summit in December 2015. We are also working on a lot of other subjects, but I will name a few. Strengthening of the single market, effectively implementing the European semester and renewed Europe 2020 strategy, mainstreaming industrial competitiveness, enhancing employment of the long-term unemployed, the youth and persons with disabilities, reviewing the European Union's economic governance legislation, and further deepening the economic and monetary union. Under Digital Europe, our goal is to fully exploit the digital potential in the economy and work on enhancing trust in the digital single market. We are steering the EU policies to develop digital potential into 3 directions: boosting economic growth, providing safety in digital environment, and promoting modernization of public sector and digital skills. Digital aspects should be promoted by default. That means any regulation, any law enacted should be enacted in a way and with consideration of how it will affect and work in digital world. And it also means the need to promote digital skills, especially in early childhood education and primary education. So our particular interest is the digital single market strategy. We expect the Commission in May to come up with proposals for June European Council so that it can give guidance to the digital agenda. In the meantime, to develop digital single market, we actively work on proposals for essential legislative acts such as common telecommunications market, data protection and network and information security. We also work on a new proposal on the substantial decrease of roaming costs, as well as on rules of network neutrality, or so-called open internet. We are planning to host Digital Agenda Assembly in Riga in June 17-18, which will be organized together with the European Commission. So, as I already mentioned, one of the main objectives of the Latvian presidency is to promote stability and development in the EU's neighborhood and the world, working together with the High Representative and the European External Action Service. Our neighborhood, and by that I mean European neighborhood, is of primary importance, both in the south and in the east. We are facilitating and contributing to the review of the European neighborhood policy. As a Latvia, of course, we pay particular attention to enhancing EU cooperation with Eastern Partnership countries. The fourth Eastern Partnership Summit in Riga, which will take place on May 21st-22nd, will provide the opportunity to evaluate the progress since Vilnius Summit, reconfirm Eastern Partnership strategic importance, and identify further strategic guidance. Another priority is increased visibility of the EU in the Central Asia. Conference on EU and Central Asia cooperation was held as a contribution to the review of the EU strategy for Central Asia. Currently, active preparations are ongoing to prepare two high-level events in Latvia dedicated to the Central Asia: Clean Technology Forum in April and Central Asia Education Ministers meeting in June. Another important issue is the so-called TTIP, Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership. Particularly if you look at the current international environment. The December and March European Councils tasked negotiators to finalize the negotiations by the end of 2015, as well as to ensure intensification of positive messages on the TTIP. There is active ongoing work in that respect, both between expert groups and also on national level. Unfortunately, I just heard, I think yesterday, our foreign minister mentioned that it's hardly possible that the negotiations could end by 2015, by the end of this year, essentially. That most likely will not be possible. In June European Council, we are looking forward to a strategic discussion on future level of ambition in the common security and defense policy development. By the end of April, EU External Action Service will prepare a report on the EU role in the current international context. That will lead to the review of the European security strategy. As a presidency, we have emphasized the need to ensure EU resistance against hybrid warfare, such as propaganda, cyber attacks, insurgency that is financed from outside, security of the EU external border. March European Council supported our initiative to create, by the end of June, the action plan for strategic communication so as to counter Russian misinformation campaigns. And it's also important to mention that presidency are proceeding with the enlargement negotiations based on the principles of conditionality and individual merit. When preparing for the presidency, we had only three main themes. But as it usually happens for almost all presidencies, the realities bring in their corrections. The tragic events in Paris and Copenhagen have confirmed the need for robust counter-terrorism policy. Since the beginning of the year, it has been constantly on the Council's agenda. We are tasked by the end of June to reach progress in the following counter-terrorism measures: to strengthen EU external border by starting systematic control of travel documents and persons on the border, to create a special unity within Europol that will observe the internet with the aim to fight promotion of terrorism and extremism, improve the fight against the illegal sales of firearms. By the end of the year, we will reach an agreement on implementation of the EU passengers name record, which will also be an important part in the fight and identification of terrorists. So that essentially is what I wanted shortly to say about the priorities. As I mentioned, those are only few. When you really go through, it's not without a reason that Commission is few, I think tens of thousands of people, and there is a lot of work going on, and very specific and detailed one, but those are some of the most important in my mind. Thank you for your attention, and open for discussion.
So maybe you just stand here and we just do it a bit informally, but I'm sure there are lots of questions that you have for His Excellency, and I would like to, because you have a very interesting title of your talk, A Small Country with a Big Role, because many Icelanders in the discussion of EU have believe that small countries don't have a big role in EU. So maybe it would be interesting just to have hear a little bit from you on that that point.
Yeah, well, it's certainly, how to say, it's in a way heartwarming to have this role, because for Latvia being where we are coming from and where we are now, it's a huge development. And in that sense, it is something we hardly, I could hardly believe, I never would have believed in my youth that this is possible. So now we are there, and in fact we also are, how to say, it is really, you have a lot of influence, because as a presidency you work very closely together with Commission, and you have the possibilities to influence a lot of decisions at very early stage, and it is you to whom first Commission and as the institutions turn for a guidance, for an advice. Sometimes the problem is that as a small country you either don't have interests, or you have not yet formulated them at the moment when they are necessary. So one lesson what I can say from that is that you really need to think through your own interests as well, because that's really a point where you also can easily advance them. But maybe I think that was something we were not very well prepared. We were more looking at advancing general good and being a broker more than promoting our interests. But certainly it is an excellent possibility, and also the visibility which is given by presidency to your country is excellent too.